Again, chapter 15, Walsh, family resilience, strengths forged through adversity. This is also a chapter brought forth by Froma Walsh herself. Understanding that families do have great resilience as individual clients do. The resilience defined as the ability to withstand and rebound from disruptive life challenges is important. Most families can learn to bounce back, maybe not to pre-trauma functioning level, but to some approximation thereof. The relational context of individual resilience. If you understand that a family is as strong as its least resilient, least strong partner, which is a different way because it's very negative to refer to a family member as weak, but looking at who presents with vulnerability, who's in high-risk situation. Most abused children do not become abusive families, but almost all abusive parents, but almost all abusive parents were abused children. There are reasons and excuses. It can be a contributory reason. It doesn't give a person a bye, because families are able to recover and not perpetrate that type of abuse on their own vulnerable family members. Looking at dealing with chronic medical illness and poverty, catastrophic life events, trauma, loss, grief, death, family violence. Looking at family stress and adaptation and resilience. What can each person bring? What can the family bring together as a whole? If you tap into each family member's strength and then combine those as family strength, helping them to understand it from a biopsychosocial systems orientation, that there are risk factors that present with every issue, as well as protective factors. What the life stage, the developmental perspective is. What happens if the challenges come over time? Do families just wear out and become tired? What happens when everything is piled on like a football tackle? There is a family member with SA, substance abuse issues. There's a death. There is a chronic mental health issue. There's a loss of income and employment resulting in bankruptcy and foreclosure and uprooting of the family, and part of the extended family that was there for a systems resource no longer being able to be there because of health or age issues. What are the legacies of the past? Unresolved past, unfinished business very much from a Gestalt perspective. What are the advantages of finding a family resilience framework and operating from that position with your family? Assumptive maps into their evaluation, embedded in cultural norms, professional orientation, personal experiences, social and economic transformations, and helping families understand that by definition they're focused on strength. They're forged under stress in the midst of crisis as they overcome adversity from an existentialist point of view, that they then become stronger and that they go back to more optimal functioning and well-being of their families. And that the family has to survive, to foster healing and growth out of crisis, to empower families to be able to overcome persistent adversity. Part of that is based in the family belief systems and spirituality, making meaning of adversity, organization, patterns, flexibility, positive outlook, connectedness, staying connected, finding social and economic resources, which includes counseling, having very clear communication, problem solving, decision making processes with open emotional expression, and collaboratively problem solving for the family as a whole. Looking into Beaver's work, which we will get into later in the book, and his understanding of family systems, going with hope, the installation of hope, the positive outlook that we can make a difference, that we can survive, that we will remain a family. Mastering the art of the possible is the hallmark of resilience, affirming family strengths and a potential to overcome, not succumbing to powerlessness, learned helplessness, failure, blame, but a reinforcement of pride, confidence, and the ability to do this. Going to transcendence and spirituality to something higher than ourselves. Flexibility, a core process of resilience, that we can bounce back, we can recover from this, that we stay connected, that we stay cohesive, that our children are our children, that our partners are our partners, even if we're no longer married. Finding relationships in families and social relationships and economic. Understanding clarity and congruence in our messages, not sending mixed messages. Understanding that anxiety can be expressed in somatic, with stomach pains, not covering up, living with secrets. If there is a chronic physical issue, having a very open talk at an appropriate developmental level with everyone to inform and to avoid worry. Not trying to protect children from things that we think they don't pick up on, but understanding that they do. And maintaining emotional expressions of love. That even if we cry or having problems, that we're not losing control. Even if we move, we're going to accommodate each other. We're going to problem solve collaboratively. We're going to show compassion and forgiveness. We're going to stay together. Looking at the clinical utility of a family resilience framework, building on those developments of overcoming, not name-calling, blaming, not calling people survivors or dysfunctional family members or rescuers or enablers, but to help people to simply understand from a multisystemic assessment approach what typical defense mechanism, coping strategies, roles that we assume because we don't know differently come in, and a psychoeducational approach to help families understand what is happening to them and how to cope differently for better outcome results. Looking at families that come from lower income levels with crime and with poverty, families that are immigrants like ethnic Albanians coming from Kosovo that were part of a genocidal ethnic cleansing and that have experienced widespread atrocities, families from Hispanic countries, from African countries that have seen torture, rape, murder, the disappearance of loved ones, those that have come from some of these other backgrounds, and having a place to be able to discuss this for the first time in an open, sympathetic, empathetic, understanding position. Navigating new challenges in changing worlds, idealized family models, dealing with guilt and not being able to maybe maintain cultural rituals and strict adherence, understanding that diversity and fluidity among social, economic, and political upheavals are necessary for families to be able to find resilience from these kinds of challenges. So morphing from there, we'll go into chapter 16 on normative family transitions, and I will look forward to some of your discussion posts around these issues.